On the air. Okay, morning, everybody. I know it's early, and a lot of you rode your bikes today. Very good. Bike to work day today. I did not bike. I'm sorry about that. It's hard to bike with a jacket on, although I see you did it.
Put it in my backpack.
All right, very good. All right, so we're going to start with our June meeting, Public Works with Highway first. I'll accept attendance-wise, myself, Bill McPartlin, Supervisor Jamie Pucciano, Ray Smith is here, Matt Yeto, Kathleen, Dan, Beth, and Elena. That's our attendance for the meeting this morning. Remotely, we have Roy Thornton. So there is our attendance. I will accept a motion for the minutes from our May meeting. Those were sent out by email to everyone.
I move to approve the minutes.
I will second that motion. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so our minutes for the highway portion of our meeting have been passed. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ray Smith for his agenda.
You want to do Roy first?
Yeah, we'll do Roy
He's at the
first.
very end here, so if he
So-
wants to talk,
Roy, if you can hear us, we'll open it up for public comment first, so that'll give you.
Right, you're loud and clear. Thanks for putting me in early. I've got a dentist appointment.
We don't want you missing that.
9:30. Just briefly, did people get the note that I sent on Monday, the May 30th?
Yes, thank you for that. It was very informative, indicating what birds and other things you saw there when you were out there. I'm not remembering the other gentleman's name that was with you.
It's Bob Unick,
Yes,
who's 87 years old and still going.
that's fantastic.
I just had a couple questions. How's the delineation of the mowing going on the main landfill cap? And have signs been put up and mowing been stopped on the low mow initiative strip next to the golf course or next to the driving range?
So I have a little more to do up on top of the landfill cap. There was some holes that I was unable to get up to due to malfunction of the mower, but not much. The body of what you see is mostly what we're going to try to keep. I'm going to do a couple radiuses to the additional holes that I didn't get to, but I did see quite a bit up there when I was up there mowing too. So the body of it is pretty close to what it's going to be. Like I say, I got to make a few more passes to a couple holes, and then it is what it is.
Sounds good. Any progress on signs?
I had some signs made up for Laura. I talked with her like a week ago. She's not going to use them all, so we're going to post a few, at the entrance points, one off of Line Drive and then one off the bottom of the hill by the dog park. We're going to put a couple up there so people at least know what they're looking at.
Well, again, I want to express my appreciation and delight that things are going this way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. All right, I don't see anyone else for public comment, so now you can start with your agenda.
Okay. Item number 2, highway crews. As always, as we get calls in, resident request. There's some patching of roads, basin repairs. They're doing some drainage projects right now that we've accumulated over the winter months, and between stuff, we're trying to hit them and get them done. And just a variety. I know they're working on a stump list from the winter months of the trees we took down, now that they can get to them. You might have seen it on your way in. They were shoulder mowing all the vacant properties out in front here right now. So we try to do that 2 to 3 times a year as the grass gets tall. Vacant properties or just town-owned properties where it abuts the road, just to keep from a maintenance standpoint, cut down and.
Right, and a clear line of sight.
Right,
Out
clear
here,
line
we
of
have to
sight
mow
is-
that because we need a clear line of
Yeah.
sight.
Very big, and it gives it a nice appearance, so it's good stuff to do. Number 3, personnel wise, replacement of a grounds worker. I turned in a request for employment for one. We'll get him on this month, get him through his pre-employment stuff. He's already started some of that, so paperwork wise. So we'll get that through. Retirement of a working crew leader, 30 plus years. As you know, this was a crew leader that I had mentioned last year that had an unfortunate incident. Very valuable to our department, and his conditions have made it so that he will be retiring, so, or is retired right now. So in that, I'd like to say thank you to him for his years of service. He was a valuable employee to our department.
Absolutely, 30 plus years.
And will be missed. He's very knowledgeable in what he did. With that, the process is we'll be posting civil service posting for that title at the department. I'll do some interviews and for anybody that applies, and then hopefully I have a name for you by the end of the month. We have been using different people in the last year that he's been out to see who's a good fit and who's going to work out for us. So we had some pre-trial to make sure we get our best candidate. Also be posting a auto body repairman. This we've been doing kind of on a per diem. This was one of the retirees from the incentive March a year ago. So it's time, as we're moving people around and we got new people coming in, to fill these vacancies and continue on with our restoration projects and make the longevity of our equipment and stuff last that much longer.
So are you anticipating that's going to be a new hire, or that will be someone?
No,
who's
I
up?
would always prefer to fill internally.
Mhm.
I think there'll be multiple applicants for this, so we may have to do a trial period of, see who does the best job. So, number 4, parks crews. As you know, they've been mowing in the parks. The clubs are all out there doing their thing, so we're in touch with them, trying to make everything as good as we can make it for everybody, along with our residents in the parks. This week, of course, a couple days of rain really puts a damper on what you can get done, but it happens.
The
So
weather definitely affects your work.
yeah, it just ends up being a little catch up. So, but we'll get there. And of course, the splash pad opened this week, so that was a great effort by many different departments.
Yes, thank you for everyone
Charlie,
that participated
Ronnie,
in getting
Matt.
it open.
So
And it was, I'm sure, well used over the weekend. I drove by the other day and it was being used.
yeah, it
Hot weather.
was quite busy. So good effort by everybody there making that happen. Number 5, yard waste. As last month, May 9th was the beginning of the scheduled pickup. We encourage people, so we still do, thanks to the clerk's office there, we still have people opting in and opting out. So we have to go out and change our squares and stuff, but they do a great job notifying us and working with the residents. So, this week was a holiday week, so everything's off a day. So we get a little bit greater call volume in, but that's going well. We have been utilizing the Labor Ready and because of the volume, we've been putting a third truck out with our people on the two bigger zones so that we can stay in schedule and get everything picked up for the day. Town pool, same thing. Ronnie and Charlie are down there. Charlie doing all the internals of the building and getting their pumps set up. Ronnie pressure washing, painting, patching of the pool. So again, I think Lori hired a few people that are down there working with Ronnie. So
Do we have a projected date for opening that or when that
I
usually
don't know
opens?
when the inspection is, but I think we usually open around Father's Day. I'm not 100% sure. But again, another good collaborative effort by many different people to make these things happen. Number 7, sweeper. Sweeper is finished zone 1, is now in starting zone 2. So that's moving along. Items for resolution, I left the purchase of equipment by the highway because I had to make some changes on one of the items that was approved last month. I got all the information to Elena, so our dollar amounts are still the same. It's just some correction in the paperwork. So Elena has all of that. Number 2 on there, I just wrote purchase of a bus. I know we had some change of ideas. If you look at page 2, I did a mock-up of what we're looking at. So we're exploring different options for the needs of the rec center. That their bill is a 12-passenger standard passenger van, equipped with air, heat, a little bit of comfort for the seniors. I know we talked before about possibly a transit van. From what we looked at least 12 to 14 months out, at least,
Wow.
for you can't locate one, so it's a build from new.
So would you be considering this the smaller of the 2 vehicles?
No,
Or this is
actually,
be a bigger one?
That's a 12 passenger, so it relieves us from non-CDL,
Mm-hmm.
and anybody can drive it. And this one here is about 50,000, and if you mini bid it, I believe you'll get a bit more saving. So you're less than half of the price of the original big bus to duplicate what we have. And you still have the capacity. And I guess with that added savings, if we find that this isn't quite enough or whatever, then we go with that second smaller one. So this is just an idea. Lori's going to talk with the people at the rec center and in her committee about this and make sure that they're okay with this.
Right,
And
this
I'm
spans many committees. You're just
I-
giving us information.
I'm just trying to facilitate this and get this through.
Right. Got-
Ultimately, they have the decision.
Our current bus got inspected and is still good to be on the road.
Yep.
Which is good news, right? So they're thinking, from what I've heard, is that they thought, well, they really don't need a big bus like that. Their clientele is much more mobile than it was in the past, and that's why they were leaning towards this type of vehicle.
Yep.
Which is quite a bit less costly than, obviously, the bus that we have.
So we'll keep researching options until we find the golden egg for them down there.
Okay, well, their committee meeting.
These are available, so I think we could get this in a timely fashion.
Okay,
And like I say, this falls under something that we could mini bid and get an additional savings. So
now you say that about the CDL license. Do we have to look into that more or research that
no,
more? I don't know what the new
I have
law
the
is.
statistics. It's under 15 or more passengers is CDL with a gross vehicle weight of over 26,000.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the stipulation.
What about the limousine law?
This will still have the safety features of, obviously all of the belting and everything, but the CDL is where you fall under the limo, from what I'm found out so far.
Okay,
I guess this would be considered light passenger vehicle, so should fall under the standard of just like a car.
okay. Thank you for working on that.
Well, we just want to get the right thing. We want what they want, and we got to look at, all over the news, they can't find bus drivers, which will only make it harder for us down the road because we
Yes.
don't provide a lot of hours. So,
Right. It's 2 days a week and it's a part-time job for
right.
sure.
We're fortunate to have what we have now, but you don't know down the road, and it was hard on the girls to try to get what they got. So,
Yeah,
paving list, they're working on the first date. I believe we're on schedule for the next couple of weeks, weather permitting. So when you see them, they're in multiple areas. So when you see the cones and the guys out there, we hop around to get that many done. Surplus list, we're still working on some items. I know, Matt, you said you might have a couple for us, so if you get them to us, we'll try to get it in for this month. Lomo disc golf. We talked with Roy about that. Thank you. The last one is a tree quote for Hempstead Drive. This was about $8,000 tree a couple years ago, so we only had 1 leader taken off of it at that time. And now this is in a creek line behind a house. We have no access. The tree is humongous. Got to take a crane.
and this is on somebody else's property, but we have an
No,
easement there.
we own, this is in the green belt, this property. We wouldn't take it down if it was in an easement because we
Okay.
don't own it.
Right,
This is in the green belt area up at Hempstead, between Hempstead and Fox Hollow. The
okay,
town actually owns the property where the drainage stream is. We have very few, but there are a couple. Totally not accessible and totally not able to do with the equipment we have.
so where they have to bring a crane in
They
for
gotta
this?
bring a crane in and get it all out of there. And it is, if it was just in the woods, I wouldn't worry about it. I would drop it and let it fall, but this is in proximity of doing damage to somebody's house. So
So you've had it evaluated, this
a
tree?
couple times, I had 1 leader taken off last year. I just couldn't see spending our whole tree budget on 1 tree in the woods. And, I've been before us and, I've showed the supervisor even riding around. We inherit a lot of woods behind people's houses, and it is becoming just a nightmare to, everybody has a tree in their backyard, and then you're in there, and then the neighbor sees you in there, they got a tree. This is half of our emergency budget in our tree.
Yeah, that's a
For
lot.
1 tree. So it's getting, I think we have to watch what we accept in people's backyards and
As town
Order.
property.
eyebrows. Exactly, because there's really nothing in there that is of value to us other than saving a green strip around a subdivision. But unfortunately, later on, we inherit what becomes not very good access or no access at all, and it becomes costly to us and to the taxpayers. So just a thought, only because we deal with it, to bring it to light.
So it's your recommendation that we move forward on this at this time?
Yeah, being that we're on notice that it's a danger to their homestead, I would say that.
So we'll bring this up at finance.
Finance, yeah, it's just above my approval limit, so the money is in the account, but like I said, it's a pretty big hit
Yeah,
on the account, so. But I would definitely say we need to do this.
okay.
And then if anybody has anything for me,
Just on here, I've got, sort of how are we making out with our work list and our priority list for the facilities and and that?
I know Supervisor can speak of, she's working on some creative funding for stuff, and I think as we get closer is when we prioritize, and I mean, that's totally up to her.
Mm-hmm.
Being it is in the heart of trying to get some streets paved and stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm not pressuring.
You know, we did our
you, but-
initial meeting, and I
Yes.
thought it was a great meeting. But it's kind of, I would say, on the back burner right now until we secure what we need to secure, correct?
And you've been having trouble finding contractors for certain
Exactly.
jobs.
Yes.
Like the job out here and other work that you.
Yep.
That's on the list.
It is. It's up on our priority list too, and, you know, trying to find people is getting harder and harder.
Well, hopefully we just have to kind of keep some keep it at the top of mind, if you will.
Right.
So
And
that-
the smaller ones, we're
You're
trying to
tackling
do
yourself,
ourselves
yes.
and that, but only because they've gone this long and we really need to get them done, so.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody have anything else for transportation, public facilities? No? All right. Well, then we can close that portion of the meeting, or I'll accept a motion to close that portion.
I move to close that portion of the meeting.
Okay, I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None opposed, so we can close that. We got about 5 minutes, or can we go right into the net? We can. You've already got 8 o'clock on your agenda, right? So we can move right into yours. Right? Okay, so we'll move right into Public Works meeting. So again, the minutes were sent out electronically to everyone from our 5/5 meeting. So I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes from the 5/5/2022 meeting.
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. I will second that motion. All those in favor of the minutes from the 5/5? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. All right, got the minutes approved, and then we'll turn it over to you, Matt.
Okay. Under admin engineering, we're still looking to fill a junior engineer or engineering tech position in our office. We've advertised multiple times in the papers, online, and we're still accepting applications. Attorney's items, Pierce Road, Elena.
So the next steps in that, now that we have the numbers, it's kind of a two-step process. One is that Matt, myself, and Beth need to meet to discuss financing if these do move forward. And the second part is to make sure that the residents who move forward with the petition or are interested in moving forward with the petition, they're still interested after seeing the increase in costs. So we'll be doing that between now and the next meeting. And then once we have the petition and a plan for financing in place, we can move it forward to public hearing. City water contract, there's no update at this point. The city's not been responsive to my reaching out to them.
So what are our next steps there? Is myself supervisor, we should try to get involved and try to get a meeting together?
I think that might be helpful.
Okay. I mean, the supervisor and I can work on that. If they don't respond to you, maybe they'll respond to us, but we don't know.
At least Corp Counsel for the city hasn't been responsive.
Okay.
Dish Network, I don't believe that there's a new update since we were here last. The holdup is basically that they were looking for us to pay for removal of their equipment if we have to do any type of maintenance, and we're not budging on it. So we're just kind of at a standstill
Right, we
until,
haven't done that with anybody, so
Right.
why would we do that with them?
well, especially with what we know we're going to need for maintenance, and it would be they're looking for a 25-year agreement, so we can't, under those circumstances, agree to that. So if they want to move on that, then we can move forward with it. But right now, that's the only holdup on that. And then the fence shed easement agreement, that's a new one for me, but I can do that I'll get
Yeah, Dan's got the paperwork for it. We'll forward along to you.
Okay. And then the outside user agreements were on potentially for last month. They may move forward this month. We did the sewer district extent, or what was it
We
last?
accepted the.
Oh, that's
the
right. We
line.
accepted
Yep.
it from, on Aqueduct, the actual sewer line. So now we can do the outside user agreements. There was at least one of the three that I think still wanted to consider it after I'd spoken with her, that she was really unaware of what it meant. And once I explained it to her, I think she had some more questions, and I'm going to have Matt get in touch with her to answer her questions and make sure she wants to move forward. And then another resident did send back the agreement, but it's in an electronic version that I can't open. So I've asked them to resend that. And if we have it, then it'll be on for next month.
Okay.
I think that that's it.
All right, thank you. I have something to add, sort of in the same spirit. I spoke to a resident on Van Antwerp Road, Keats and Riley. You had a meeting with them and Laura, I guess, right?
Yes.
And you and I talked about them also, that they're trying to get on our sewer. They have septics right now. So they had some questions and they were a little bit confused, if you will, on what their next steps are going to be. Can you tell me a little bit about the meeting and where you're at with them?
Yeah, we met with them, and we told them basically what the next steps would be. If they had further questions, I can reach out to them and see what their questions are. Last I knew, they were trying to talk to their neighbors to see what the interest was,
I
correct?
think that they reached out to
Riley's.
yes, to
is
get
the
a
old
potential
Wemple house.
quote for how much it would cost. And that I
that's right.
believe they sent an email indicating that the Riley or whoever it was that they had reached out to had some further questions for the town, but I don't know if that contractor had ever contacted the town.
Well, right. So he spoke to me yesterday. The Rileys, which is their neighbor, again, in the old Wemple farmhouse, that they seem to be on board with wanting to do this. Also, they reached out to Corey Lukes from Odorless Sanitary. He would be a contractor, right?
Okay.
That would,
Yeah, that's who I think that they sent an email saying that that person had some questions and they weren't sure if the contractor had reached out to the town yet. So
right.
that's what we were waiting for
Now,
was.
is this, so I guess, again, they're speaking to them, are they following the right sort of path? Do they need to get an engineer or
At some point they will, but right now I think they're just trying to look at numbers.
they're trying to get numbers?
I can reach out to Orderless to see if they have any questions.
Okay. And possibly the Keats. I think they're the leading people on this is the Keats. And then, as I said, they've got the Rileys that they said indicated they also wanted to try to get on at the same time as they were doing this. That was going to be a forced main they're putting in, or,
Most likely, yeah.
and you said it was going to go out the back, correct?
At the side of their lot. It depends on if it's individual
Mm-hmm.
connections or if they end up doing an extension, then it would require a line in the street. So that's where I think they are right now. They're trying to decide how they connect and if they come in as outside users to an existing line or if they extend the public main. But it has a pretty large impact on the price. And we don't like to have outside users running their private lines in the town or the county right of way, unless it's their own property. We don't like to have a crossing. At that point, it should just be an extension. So that's where they are. But I can reach out to Odorless and see if they have, what their questions are. There was one option that they were looking at was going back into the town property, which I don't think is as feasible as they think it is, because it's quite a ways and there's trees involved and the property behind. Yeah,
It's never a good practice, but later on it becomes whose problem is it?
My
Right.
concern was with all the trees and having access to the connection point because they'll be responsible for that line all the way to the town line. And if it's on town property with trees over, blocking access, it could be challenging.
Okay, well, keep trying to work with
Yep.
them. They really, from speaking to them, want to try to, at least get to a point where they have an idea how much it would cost and what their options are. I think they're a little confused on that, or they're not at that point right now.
I could reach out to them today.
Okay, thank you.
Water and sewer items. There were no road cuts in town roads in May for water or sewer repairs. Just passing that along to the highway department. Item B, we still are looking to hire up to 2 water and sewer maintenance workers. I have an interview later this morning, and we have a couple applicants that they're starting to filter in. So that's good. We had a skid steer that we were planning to purchase this year. It was bonded money to make the purchase. We received a quote last year, 3/4 of the way through the year, of $82,000 off of the Sourcewell contract. That's including a 10% padding that I put in just in case it did go up. It's now $92,361. That's how much everything's gone up in price. And this is still off of that contract. It's not even market value for that. So it's at a savings already at 92,000. So we bonded 82,000 because that's what the initial cost we thought was going to be. And I was talking to Beth. I believe we'll have to do some type of fund balance appropriations to be able to make that purchase.
And this is a piece of equipment that you need to replace something that you already have?
It would supplement our existing fleet, but it would allow for better handling of materials on site. But it's going to have multiple attachments so that we can use it for our water main repair work. And also we'll pay about $4,000 a year to rent one of these pieces of equipment to brush hog all of our water and sewer easements. So that would save right off the top $4,000 a year. It's probably even more now because all the prices gone up annually and for the life of the vehicle or of the piece of equipment. So there was quite a bit of savings realized by doing that.
And with that, Bill, we have the same piece of equipment with other attachments. So when you talk, that would, you don't need duplicate attachments of what we have. We can share the attachments, which better utilizes both machines.
So that's just the cost of the machine.
It's a machine plus a brush hog attachment, which they don't have a brush hog for theirs.
So this is something that you can use at the same time.
Yeah, so we're going to work on implements between the two of us that benefit everybody.
Now it's up to you, Beth.
Well,
That was a surcharge because we ran this identical quote.
yeah, the fund balances would come from would be split between water and sewer funds. And those funds are actually in pretty good condition right now. So it's the same thing we were seeing with the equipment purchases that we were doing for highway. Even though they had gone multiple times through the year and kept increasing to try to keep up with it, it's still, when we finally went to set up the purchases, everything has increased yet again. So we're seeing this across the board on a lot of things right now.
Okay, thank you.
And next item, we have also bonded for 3 pickup trucks for this year, and 1 was from last year, and then 2 for this year. So we're putting together a mini bid to purchase the three trucks to replace rather old pickup trucks in our fleet. We're not increasing the fleet at all. We'll get rid of the other 3.
Okay.
Utility billing, we're working on the spring residential and commercial reconciliation. The numbers are still tentative at this point, so if they're not completely ready and checked, we'll have the resolution next month. But if things work out, we'll move forward with this month to get that taken care of. The water treatment plant, the organic waste program on June 21st. The rep from the company that provided the organic waste receiving station and screen will be on site to run tests on the equipment, run test loads, and update software. That's one of the last hurdles before we can bring in shipments of the material.
On that, Matt, just so you know, I have to replace that culvert at the end of Woodmire on the River Road end.
Is it the one that
The
goes,
locations there,
is it the one right at the road or the one that's just in?
the crossover, just in, first
Okay,
property by the
yeah.
driveway.
Okay,
So, I'll try to, actually, we have locations called in there now, so it could happen within the first week. So I'm just gonna take half of it, backfill, and then take the other half, but just so that you're aware, that's,
yeah, for the test loads, we'll use water from on site as well so that the traffic won't be an issue.
You're doing that this month?
wanna help?
Sure. Let me know. All right.
Replacement forklift. The current forklift that's down at the sewer plant, I believe, is from 1971. So we've got, yeah. So we've got a useful life out of it. It's been repaired multiple times, and now it's leaking on the main hydraulic cylinder, and it's a safety concern. And the cost to actually tear everything apart is not worth it for the equipment any longer. That was a piece of equipment that we had asked to replace in the capital budget. And so we did bond money for that purchase. And like the skid steer, the prices went up from last year. We had planned on $27,000 for the purchase. Current price is $34,000.
Is that new or used?
That's new, but they have no used. We asked if we could get a used one, and they said they can't. The used market is completely.
I'm gonna be in the market too.
The one we need, and the one unique piece about it, it has to be the pneumatic tires because it runs outside. We have, and I guess Toyota also is a main producer of a lot of these forklifts, and there's a stoppage right now at the factory because of the EPA is holding them up on emissions, so they've stopped manufacturing for the Northeast or for the North America.
Is this diesel or gas? Propane?
Mhm. So hopefully that will be resolved in the next few months and the supply, but we're still looking months out, even if we did make the purchase.
Are you looking for the same type with pneumatic tires or you're, yeah?
Just a yard one. We have an old military one, but that's one of the things I'm working on with the surplus. I'm trying to fund mine internally instead of,
Your mic's not on.
I was talking to you.
Gotta put that microphone on. Don't get Seth upset.
So we would have to do the similar thing as moving money to make up the difference on that as well. But that will have to go out to bid for.
Okay.
But I don't expect prices to be that much different. It's an actual quote that I have, but because of they don't have there's no buying group like Sourcewell that has that piece of equipment on the contract already. We would go to bid for it. Water treatment plant. The plant upgrade design is complete. We were going through some last minute changes over the last few weeks, and they're doing their final QA/QC right now at MJ Engineering, and we expect to be out the bid in a week or two, and we'll award it at the July meeting. One item, I just received a phone call just before the meeting started, and there was another call a couple of days ago to our water plant. The city of Schenectady and Glenville, they're interested in selling water to Clifton Park Water Authority, and they would go through Niskayuna to do so over their extra bridge. And there's a potential market for us to also sell our water across the bridge. And talking to Glenville, there is quite a bit of money available right now with all of the spending federally, and being an intermunicipal project to maybe pay for the upgrades to the system that would allow us to be a redundant supply for Clifton Park. And the city is very interested and so is Glenville. So it's something we need to have more talks about, but it's potential revenue and it's also potential redundancy for our system. And I know with the contract in flux right now, maybe a good time to have that discussion.
We can all keep that in mind when we have the discussion about the other things we need to discuss with the city. So they need to come across Niskiuna, and we need to be joined in on this with them.
Yeah, because we have our water comes down Baldwin Road and also down Aqueduct Road, both from the city. So they would utilize our internal infrastructure as a pass-through. So whether we sell it directly to Clifton Park and buy it through the city and then sell it that way, or they have us in our agreement some way of compensating us for it.
Is there capacity in that pipe, in those pipes?
I would say so. They're 12-inch pipes, from both directions. There may be some upgrades necessary, but if there's funding available.
Intermunicipal projects
Yeah.
like this?
Yep.
Okay, great.
And I just added this one other thing too, because this came up yesterday. Chemical prices continue to rise, as we've been saying, and we've almost exhausted our chemical line for the water plant. Chlorine is just insane right now, the price of chlorine. So we're going to need to do some budget mods within the operating budget to cover the cost of the additional cost for chlorine and other chemicals that use at the plant. Right now, we have enough money in the other lines to cover it, but we'll have to wait and see how the year goes. I don't think it's going to get any cheaper
No,
in the supply. And one of the things we're going to actually change in our upgrade design is to make provisions for us to use liquid chlorine as an emergency backup to gas. That's going to be taking place in this week or two that we have before it goes out to bid. It's not going to be a major change for the project. It would just be setting us up for the future in the case that gas was unavailable.
so right now, we can't do that.
We can't and we don't need to, but if something were to happen with the gas market and it would become worse, that we'd have to use liquid chlorine takes a lot more chemical.
Right, you told me about that.
Result, so.
And it's a lot of storage of that, and
And
there's
cost, yeah.
drawbacks and costs to going to liquid.
So it would only be an emergency backup, but if we're doing the work, might as well make that provision now. Recycling center, we usually have a fall TV recycling day,
Mhm.
paper shredding event. And I know Kathy has to schedule that far in advance with the two companies. So didn't know what your interest was, Bill.
Yeah, we
What
should
date?
continue to do that, because residents ask about that. And so we need to get a date. When did we do it? September or October?
It was October, yeah,
October?
before it gets too cold.
Okay, well, you guys look at your calendars and pick a date for one of those Saturdays.
Okay, we'll send an email around. And
Okay, yeah,
lock it in.
send an email around, check, make sure we don't have any other events or anything else going on, with, other committees, and
Okay.
that we can schedule that in.
Sounds good. And I just left it on there. Right now, we're functioning adequately with one person at the transfer station, but I would still like to have a second person as a backup in the event that there were issues with the prime attendant. So just accepting applications. If anyone's interested, we'll throw their name on a list and just have them available. We still do have one other backup person right now.
Right, we have one backup person. Okay, but right, it's not, we're not adding people, we just want to be able to staff it if the other person can't be there.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's all I have.
Anybody else have anything for Water and Sewer and Public Works Committee? Our next meeting is July 7th at 8 a.m. for both meetings. I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I will second that motion. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.